They said we never make it on our own, but we're hustling and grinding, so we're proving them all wrong. Every day we're coming closer than we ever could have known, and we don't listen to haters cause we live and die alone. They never understand the struggle that we've done. We've been in a tunnel of our brain for way too long. We gon' make it out together on our own. There's no stopping the inevitable once it has so grown.
Yeah.
Welcome to another scoring live stream. I am Jim, your host, and it's good to welcome you all back again for another one of these streams. It's been a while since our last one, but we are back in business. We're going to be hopefully bringing these to you a little bit more regularly in the new year. So keep an eye out for future live stream announcements on Twitter, by subscribing to the channel and hitting the notifications bell, and then you'll always know when there's a live stream that's going to come up. As usual, on the call with me today is Kaiser, long-time member of Fight Night Scores. It's good to have you on board. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. Just looking forward to doing the rematch now.
Yeah. So soon we're going to be starting a live stream scoring for the Holmes versus Spinks 2 rematch. We covered it in our very first live stream, which is available in the YouTube channel archives. It was a pretty fun fight. Can't remember off the top of my head how we scored it, but I'm pretty sure we came to similar conclusions. It'll be good to watch this rematch, which came, I think it was an immediate rematch. Kaiser will be able to tell us a little bit more history as we watch the fight. First up, we've got a bit of recent boxing events to cover. I mean, it's been a lot since we last streamed. We're not going to go back to then. I think we last streamed on the weekend of the Chizora and Tyson Fury, but a lot has happened since then. So we'll just have a quick recap on there. I think first up we can cover the Kambosos Lopez, possibly the shock of the year, maybe. I think it might be mine. I don't think many people saw this coming. I certainly didn't. What about you, Kaiser?
No, I'm right there with you. Heavy upset. I think the average prediction was, Lopez to win by stoppage between rounds 1 and 6, and yet here we are. Kambosos is, the new unified champion after a 12-round decision. So, incredible performance from Kambosos as well. Tough as nails, took the best shots. They traded knockdowns as well, but he boxed the fight he wanted to, and I think the decision was more than fair.
Yeah, it was. I was quite relieved, in fact, that the officials got it right. There was that little bit of doubt that you just never know. But I mean, it was it's quite a clear-cut victory. I'd say Kambosos absolutely deserved it. He proved he was, his warrior. His game plan was absolutely perfect. Lopez was getting some, mixed messaging in the corner when the camera was on him. You could hear his father saying one thing and then immediately totally contradicts himself. It's interesting to see how Lopez bounces back from that. He seemed a little bit upset at the end of the fight, and I don't know what he was on about the fact that the referee was raising his hand. Did that happen or something as they read out the scores? I didn't quite see the replay.
No, I'm not sure about that one. I never picked up on it. But yeah, I think everyone was pretty much unanimous in kind of condemning his post-fight reaction. I don't think anyone really had him winning it. I think everyone who's watched and scored it pretty much had it 7-5 or 8-4 for Kambosos. So there was no real indications of a robbery, and he just gave off the complete kind of appearance of what we'd probably call a bad loser. So, didn't seem really great from him.
Yeah, Like I say, it'd be interesting to see how he does bounce back. Whether does he get a new trainer? Is that even feasible? It must be really awkward when it's your father that's your trainer, but a lot of people are saying he's holding him back, potentially giving him bad advice, wrong advice. But they seem really close and connected, so maybe that doesn't happen. But yeah, certainly Kambosos is now thrust himself up to the top of that lightweight division, which is absolutely stacked with talent. There's a lot of fights to be made there. We'll probably discuss a little bit that later on after we've done our scoring session. We'll move on to another fight that was a few weeks back, where Anthony Yarde he got payback against Lyndon Arthur. Arthur won last time out, got the decision, but this time Yarde he went out there and did what he should have done previously, and he just blasted Arthur out. The power was telling. There's been a lot of questions over Yarde, whether he was a bit of a one-trick pony, and obviously he fell short against Kovalev, and then he fell short again against Arthur, but this time he got it right. Yarde's probably announced himself back onto the scene somewhat. How do you think it's going to go for him in the future?
It's tough to say, really. I thought he pretty well in the fight, all things considered. He took away the jab, he backed Arthur up, he landed the power shots, and Arthur seemed a bit shell-shocked. I think after the first round, he got swarmed. I think he wasn't staggered like he was in the fourth, but he clearly was hesitant about the power once he caught a few of the shots. There's obviously fights to be made for Yarde. Obviously, a lot of kind of top 10s, top 15s out there that are tied up, like Joshua Boatsi, Vlasov, Joe Smith Jr. There's plenty of fights out there to kind of test his kind of mettle against. But yeah, we'd like a step up now.
Yeah, I think he does need to go back into the kind of world level, or the contenders at that stage. Anyway, there's like I said, there's plenty of fights out there for him. We'll see how he does. Okay, other things we've got to cover. The controversy a few weeks ago between, again on the UK card, Shiraz and Skeet. Really strange ending to this one. Not the ending, sorry, the fact that Shiraz it got Skeet down, but then he continued to throw a few more shots. 3 illegal, fully blown shots landed, and it probably should have been a disqualification, but he fought on for a little while. And then, yeah, Shiraz got the job done eventually. What do you think of this one?
Yeah, an interesting one. You covered a lot of the kind of great points there. I think majority of people who'd watched it thought that it should have been a disqualification. I think he caught him at least 2 or 3. I think it was at minimum 2, but I think it was 3 clean shots whilst he was down on the canvas. A lot of people made the fair point that it's not really up to Skeet to kind of roll around and kind of claim the disqualification. I think the rules say if someone commits a foul and it's deemed to be unsportsmanlike and intentional, the disqualification is there. I think if I were in that situation, I think I would have went for the disqualification myself. Obviously, Steve Gray, who allowed the fight to continue, he's obviously been called up to the British Board of Boxing Control. They've said that his decision was fair enough. So, despite everyone's complaints, nothing's going to be done about it, unfortunately. But it does look like there might be a rematch on the horizon.
Yeah, I think the rematch is probably a sensible thing, given that Skeet was having a lot of success. He was outboxing Shiraz quite handily, I thought. Obviously, Shiraz started getting to him as time went on, but we just don't know at this stage whether Skeet would have been able to just get a second wind and carry on as he was, or whether Shiraz would have got the job done regardless of those shots. But it did seem like, after that, Skeet wasn't quite the same. So a rematch is fair. And as we know from the past experience, the British Boxing Board of Control, they get the referee in, give him a bit of a talking to, and that's it. There's not much comes from it. But yeah, there is an argument to be made that it should be a no contest on the records, but I think Skeet is the unfortunate loser in all of that. I think we'll move on next to more recent times. Bivol, I think it was last week, he got a win, kind of a normal Bivol victory. He coasted his way to a points decision. Mateviev also won this weekend in a bit of a gory slugfest from all accounts. I didn't quite see it myself. But both of these guys are potential opponents for Canelo up at light heavyweight. They are both the two, probably number 1 and 2 at light heavy. Both Russian. It's a big fight if they can face off against each other. Do you think that could be the case going forward, or do you think they are both waiting for that Canelo lottery?
It's hard to say. I think obviously we'll hear in due course in the next few months. Obviously Canelo may be challenging Maccabi for the WBC at cruiserweight. At least the WBC have said that fight can go ahead. So obviously Canelo might be working up there for now. I think if that is what happens, in the meantime, I think Bivol versus Beterbiev is a kind of natural unification to be made. As you said, it's an all-Russian fight. But yeah, there's options for both. But I think right now that's the one we'd like to see the most.
Yeah. It would be good if they could get in the ring and see who is the number 1. And again, there's other fights out there for him, and especially Canelo as well. Also, recently we saw Lomachenko bounce back against Richard Comey. He looked brilliant, as he always did. I think we got the Lomachenko back. He's definitely still a force at lightweight. What are your thoughts on his performance?
Yeah, I thought it was brilliant. I think Rich Combs kind of been underrated to a certain degree. I think before the fight, I think people rate Lomachenko so highly, it was kind of seen as a kind of like a takeover fight. You know, Comey is a naturally heavy-hitting, legit top 10 fighter. I mean, he's coming off that knockout over Jackson Martinez, who literally, did a 9-3 job on Rolly Romero, who was going to box Gervonta Davis before that. So, a legit fighter was Martinez, and then Comey knocked him out. A really worthy opponent, and Lomachenko just did a complete job on him. Think maybe besides taking the first round off, as they always say, kind of the phrase now, downloading the data, broke him down. Almost had a stoppage in round 7, but kind of laid off him and just got a convincing points win. So I don't think you can really fault that.
Yeah, it was a great comeback win, and that lightweight division is fascinating now. Lomachenko's there. Kambosos has got the win over Lopez to be probably king of the lot of them. We've got Devin Haney, we've got Garcia, we've got who else is there? I'm missing someone.
Kambosos obviously has the championship, but yeah, there's a few people
Davis.
kind of still around. Yeah,
Davis was the one. Yeah, it's probably the most exciting division, I think. So last night we also had Parker versus Chizora. That was a big heavyweight fight for the weekend. Parker managed to get the decision. It was a pretty interesting fight, a decent fight. I thought Parker was clearly the victor. I think he won most of the rounds. I think Chizora was obviously competitive quite a lot of the time. Obviously he went down quite a few times, but in the rounds he didn't. It wasn't all one way. He was always there. He was always a danger. We know that what Chizora is. He can throw some big shots and wobble his opponents. And yeah, I think Parker probably really could have got the job done early, forced a stoppage if he'd have kind of let his hands go a little bit more. But it was good to see that he was throwing and put his man down a few times, which has sometimes been lacking in the last few years, I think. Did you see the fight? What did you think? And what next for both guys?
Yeah, I think Andy Lee's done quite well with Parker. Obviously, Andy Lee was from the Kronk gym. Obviously, he's kind of putting that kind of Kronk, or what they would call the Sugar Hill style of Fury, more aggressive, kind of excellent counter punching. Walked Chizora into the right uppercut every time. Hurt him multiple times. Probably should have. I think Andy Lee was focusing more on the victory. Obviously, it was aggressive. Obviously, he hurt Parker. Chisora. Parker hurt Chizora rather. But more than anything, they just wanted him to, get the victory. I think there could have been maybe some more urgency. There was definitely opportunities where Chizora was done. Parker probably could have got the stoppage, but it was relatively risk-free. I think the average person had about 10 rounds to Parker, 2 for Chizora. So with the 3 knockdowns, a really kind of lopsided kind of decision. Yeah, Parker boxed well. I think he's still kind of proved he's a top 10. I think there's fights out there for him, and maybe the winner of Martin versus Ortiz, or maybe a rematch with Andy Ruiz, would be good. See if we can kind of push him closer to that top 5. Chizora, I know he's posted a statement saying that he intends to continue boxing. If that's his decision, hard to say where he goes. I think he probably has to maybe drop down a level, maybe try for like a European title or something along those lines. Maybe just take a step from world level just for a fight or so.
Yeah, it probably is his level at this stage. Would like to see him probably call it quits. He's had a tough career. He's had a long career. He's obviously had quite a lot of losses, and he's been in with some wars as well. It will be good to see him retire, but if he wants to continue, he's going to continue, isn't he? Like I say, I think he probably does need to drop down a level, but does he see himself at that level? That's just another story, I guess. And we know how crazy Chizora is. He'll do what he wants, I guess. So I guess that recaps very briefly some of the events in recent weeks. We can move swiftly along to our scoring. This week we're going to do Holmes versus Spinks 2. We watched the first fight in our previous and first live stream. It'd be interesting to see what the rematch brings. Do you want to give us a brief introduction to the first fight, and a little bit of the background to the first fight, which led to this second fight, Kaiser, while I get us set up?
Yeah, no problem. The first fight, kind of huge, kind of historical event. Michael Spinks is the kind of undisputed light heavyweight champion. He's beaten the kind of who's who, like your Eddie Mustafa Muhammad's, Dwight Muhammad Kawi. Really, really tough, stacked era, and he's emerged undefeated. Larry Holmes himself, 35, kind of on the slowing down his career, had some tough decisions. Obviously, Carl Williams, Tim Witherspoon, getting controversial. A lot of people thinking maybe he didn't win those. He's getting ever so close to that 49-0 kind of mythical Marciano record. 48-0 at the time of the fight. He just needs to beat Michael Spinks to draw that record. And Michael Spinks, obviously, moving up to heavyweight, where the previous times light heavyweight champions have moved up to heavyweight, all of them have lost. 9 fighters in 13 fights have challenged the heavyweight title, and all of them have lost. I think Bob Foster did it twice against Frazier and Ali, got knocked out both times, and Billy Conn also did it twice, versus Joe Louis, also knocked out both times. So with 13 occurrences like that, obviously Michael Spinks wasn't favoured. He was a 6-1 underdog at the time. But yeah, we both watched it, scored it. We both had the same score, 9 rounds to 6. It was a close, but it was a clear victory for Michael Spinks. Larry Holmes just couldn't really get the shots off. Obviously, he had a very spiteful kind of reaction after the fight. Claimed he was robbed, insulted members of Marciano's family about the undefeated record, and then obviously the immediate rematch was announced, and Holmes once again actually was announced as the favourite before the fight. This time it was closer though. He went from Spinks was a 6-1 underdog, and then in the rematch, Holmes was the 7.5 to 5 favourite. So much closer now, but Holmes still seen. Holmes obviously given the benefit of the doubt and seen as most likely to regain this title. So very interesting fight. Michael Spinks kind of pulled off the impossible first time. But yeah, it's up to Holmes now to regain it.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for the backstory to the bout. Some great knowledge there as usual. So thank you for that. Just before we press play and get to scoring for people that are viewing, for anyone that might be viewing after the fact, after the live stream, and they come across the video, you can still join in with us with the scoring, the scorecard. For registered members of the Fight Night Scores system, once you are registered, there is a groups link at the bottom of the screen or from your dashboard. If you go into groups, you're able to input a code to join a group. You can also create a group there if you want to with your friends. In the video description is the code for this live stream, so if you enter that code and click enter, you'll be able to then go into the group with us. You'll be able to see our scorecards and anyone else's scorecard that decides to join the group, and we can also see the average scores, the round by round analysis for this specific fight and any future fights that we all score. You can then also make your way to the scorecard itself. So to get to Larry Holmes versus Michael Spinks 2, again, there's a link in the description. If you are on the website and you need to find it, if you go onto the main menu, there is a classics fights and a controversial fights link, and you'll be able to find it in there. So I guess we are good to go. If you are ready, Kaiser, I'll hit the play button. We can watch the fight, we can discuss what we're seeing as we go along, and then we can fill in our scorecards and see how we compare.
Yep, go for it.
Alright, no worries.
Aggressive fighter he says he's going to be, and sustain the pace that requires.
I'll be surprised if Larry doesn't jump right on Michael the first round.
And he's out of the corner very quickly.
Very quick start.
Well, he's doing just that now, Barry. He's going right at Michael.
Wow.
Yeah, Holmes already with a bit of manhandling. It just goes to show the physical difference between them as well. Obviously, you can still see immediately that Holmes is just significantly bigger, just more filled out.
Larry's very tight.
And then, yeah, easy push to the ground. Just like Ray Leonard said as well, he said, you know, Holmes will kind of go for him from the start and kind of make up for the mistake he made last time where he was a bit patient, a bit cautious, and not throwing, you know, the jab as much. Larry Holmes just steps right to him, put him on the back foot.
Yeah, I'm now remembering the first fight. It was the weekend of Usyk Joshua, wasn't it? And
yeah, that's
we
right.
said there were kind of shades of similarity between Usyk being a lighter man, stepping up against the big heavyweight, and if I remember rightly, you know, Holmes kind of allowed Spinks to box rings around him somewhat, and obviously if he's learnt from that first fight, he's just come straight out swinging in round one, he's manhandling into the ground. It's definitely a change of tactics.
Yeah, I think in the kind of first half of the round so far, Holmes definitely had the better of it. Nothing too clean, no what we regard as real effective shots, but all the kind of there's the first one. No,
Just landed that lovely
yeah.
straight right.
But yeah, before that as well, all the kind of little body shots getting in. I think Holmes is definitely the effective aggressor. He's initiating all the exchanges. He's landing more consistently, whereas Spinks has not really thrown too much so far.
Yeah, he's definitely, he's got centre ring, he's on his way forward. I think Spinks was probably a little bit overawed and surprised at that start that he made. Obviously, Holmes is probably not going to be able to keep up that pace, that energy, as such a big guy. And Spinks just needs to kind of ride it out and then get to his boxing, I suppose, that we know he can do from the first fight.
Yeah, Holmes still working the jab as well.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the reasons that we have selectable on the system, how would you say that this one's going? I mean, for me, I'd say Holmes is on the front foot. We know he came out flying. Now he's just kind of behind the jab, but he's still the one throwing shots. You could say he was more active as well, I suppose. He's landed the more effective shots. So all of them are three definitely valid reasons.
Yeah, for me as well. I would honestly probably even go as far as saying control the act, because Spinks didn't fight his fight at all there. He was completely on the back foot, even arguably a bit shell-shocked. Holmes, as you kind of mentioned, sent a ring, backing Spinks up to the ropes. I thought Holmes was comfortable there. I'd even maybe argue, I only think Spinks maybe only landed 2 or 3 jabs as well. So he's outlanded significantly.
Yeah, I'd definitely give Holmes that round. It was, he was very obvious. He was the victor for that one. It was quite significant as well, I'd say.
Yeah.
Just keep it going. Nice, steady pace. Not too fast, not too slow. Steady. You know what I mean?
40 punches in an average round in the first fight.
Yeah, I gave that 10-9 Holmes. I went control the action, and I think I put about 80-20 on that one. Spinks, doing enough to kind of take a lot of the damage out of the shots, apart from the one big right hand, but Holmes, for all the reasons you mentioned, the ring general, the effective aggressor, the better shots, 80-20 control the action for me.
Yeah, I went with the on the front foot. That one made the most logical sense. So for me, 65-35. Again, I explained this on the previous one. I tend to not go that high if there's not been knockdowns. So that's just my methodology for the percentages. So into the second round. Good right hand there by Holmes and followed up with a jab. He's backing up Spinks. He's probably leading for this first minute or so that there's been for the round for me.
Yeah, definitely.
That is quite difficult to penetrate his defense. The best bet for Larry is to work that body, and again, slow the movement down. Michael Spinks' hands very high, and standing.
There's an interesting thing if you maybe hear it on the. You can kind of hear it from the kind of corner there. You'll hear them shout "wiggle." I'm just reading the book about the Spinks brothers right now. That wiggle word is actually kind of their word for head movement. As you can see, Holmes just basically hits the left jab straight down the pipe, hits Spinks right on the chin. So if you hear them shout "wiggle," they're telling him to move his head.
Wiggle.
Yeah.
Now you've highlighted it. I just can't stop hearing it.
Yeah.
Good shot.
And again, Holmes scores with the right hand, but
Yeah, Spinks not throwing too much.
So the full impact of the punch is not
Still Holmes in the front on the front foot and kind of controlling the action.
Yep. They're the two logical reasons to give for the time being.
He's just fighting his fight completely, isn't he? I mean, Spinks is moving around, but Holmes just looks comfortable. He's got his hands down there, and then he just knows he has the reach advantage and the timing, and he hit Spinks immediately with the counter right as soon as he went to the jab to the body. Just his timing's there. He's sharp. He's boxing really, really well.
Yeah, it's nothing like the first fight.
Yeah, I think he's looked better these first 2 rounds than maybe he did in any round of the first fight, arguably.
Yeah, definitely.
I think the crowd is
He's
really
just
waiting
taking
for
control.
Michael to turn it off power on.
He looks like a better boxer.
Yeah, you saw the wobble on the legs there. The commentators picked up on that right hand to the kind of side of the head. That's the first time I think in the fight, in all the rounds they've shared, including the first fight, that either fight has actually been hurt as well. So we can add a new reason that now the opponent was hurt. And then yeah, jab hit him, puts him right back on the ropes.
Yeah, I mean, would you say that was you had the opponent in trouble? Was he that in trouble, or maybe it was just a good scoring shot? You know, there's a couple of reasons that he could give the round to Holmes for there. Again,
Yeah.
it was pretty one way, I'd say.
Yeah, I think I would still say control the action, because that's like the main reason he won it. Like, oh yeah. If it was a close round and he had the big shot, maybe swung it, I'd maybe be more inclined to say had the opponent in trouble. But
Yeah.
I think the main reason he won it is because, you know, either the clean shots or, you know, if you think he controlled the action or if he was more active or whatnot.
Yeah, in terms of percentages, I went the same as the first round. I think he was equally as dominant, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So round 3, I think what we'll do, is this another 15 rounder that goes the full 15?
Yeah.
So we'll pause at each 5th round and we can just have a look over the cards side by side.
Okay, fair enough.
Which appeared to have wobbled Michael Spinks a little bit. Was just some reassurance for Larry that he still has the power.
So we started up pretty much the same way, you know. I'd say Holmes is coming forward, Spinks is circling around. He kind of looks a little bit lost, like he doesn't really know what to do this time round.
Yeah. I think Spinks is trying to duck more as well. Just trying to avoid the jab.
Yeah.
This thing, you see, oh, nice right hand. I think as well, you see Spinks sometimes, looks like he momentarily shifts stance, like he turns southpaw when he's backing away. It's just a strange one. See right there, he seemingly just turns southpaw just for a second, then goes back to orthodox.
It's more like he just kind of dips his shoulder down without moving his legs into the position, but yeah, it's a little weird thing he's doing. Maybe he's trying to entice something. That's a little bit weird. He looked like he was about to fall over forwards then. I don't know what's going on.
I mean, we talked about this in the first fight, that he has the most unorthodox style as well. But yeah, he pulls some really strange moves. And it just looks like his footwork just doesn't seem there. But it worked out plenty in the first fight. But yeah, it's kind of his idiosyncrasies aren't really working for him this time around, because Holmes is still just peppering him with the jab.
Are there any current fighters that you'd say have that kind of similar style where, you know, it looks a bit awkward, not quite in full control, but is quite effective?
I mean, I wouldn't say close to Spinks. I mean, I think maybe before the kind of layoff, I think Tyson Fury had a kind of herky-jerky feinting style.
Yeah,
obviously he was constantly in motion. That's the only thing I could maybe say is a little bit similar in a sense, but yeah.
Yeah, I put you on the spot a little bit there, sorry.
That's fine.
A tough question.
But yeah, it's not something you see often.
No. He threw a good little combination there. It's his first kind of spark into life. Not sure it'll win him the round, because he's not done much else really, Spinks.
Yeah, that's a decent counter jab there, but yeah, Larry Holmes again, just throwing more shots, and that's it. You know, all he needs to be is the effective aggressor. Just initiate the exchanges. You know, cut the ring off. Yeah, Spinks, a better round for him, but still not enough.
Yeah, I think the last 30 seconds he kind of engaged a bit. I think he's probably found something that might work going forward, but I don't think he did enough to win the round at all. I'd say it was a little bit closer though than previous rounds.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. But yeah, I think the story of the fight hasn't really changed too much. It's Larry Holmes and his jab still in control so far.
Okay, baby, it's your turn now, Slim. You got to work now.
Yep.
Everything behind his hand. You can do it. Reach down there and go get it.
Just trying to listen into what the cornermen are saying.
Stick it. Reach down and go get it, baby. Reach down and go get it.
One or two punches are not going to do it. Put them together, okay?
No, you can tell their corner told Larry Holmes 1 and 2 punches won't do it. You got to put them together, so they want the combinations.
Yeah. Bit of engagement there to start off the fourth. Again, we've got Holmes kind of stalking. Spinks is backing away, circling, doing his weird movements.
Right hand missed.
Threw a decent right hand there, but it missed, unfortunately.
Yeah. Spinks is starting to have a bit more accuracy with the jab there. He tends to step in with it into the kind of step through kind of Holmes's reach and just kind of connect with it. We didn't have that in the kind of first 2 rounds, so a bit more success from him. Right hand lead from Holmes landed there.
Those inside there, those little shots to the midsection of Larry Holmes, Spinks is able to land his punches.
Right at the moment, neither man really able to double up. Holmes' jab
So
has
we're
been
approaching halfway
And again, with Spinks
of round
style,
4.
it's very hard to tell just how
It's not really been
effective
much of anything in this round so far.
There's such disparagement in the judging.
It's a tricky one to score.
Yeah, this has been the closest start so far. I think Holmes has also been the most inactive he's been so far. I think Spinks has probably been the most active he's been so far, because they've only really traded jabs. Holmes has actually gone to the body quite a few times in this fight so far. He's actually having more body shots than I think Spinks has. And you've seen a few hooks there to the body, and he's landed a few counter right uppercut to the body as well. So I think he's definitely looking to kind of break Spinks down. Holmes has stepped up his activity now with the really good body shots, but he's also landed a few more of the jabs as well. So I think Spinks might be in danger of letting this one slip away unless he kind of sustains something in this kind of last 40 seconds. Oh, lands it there.
Yeah.
Hook around the guard.
Like I say, unless there's something significant coming back in this last 30. Just prodding out with the jab there. Just, again, he's controlling the action, Holmes, isn't he?
Yeah.
Spinks still looking for an opening, but has yet to find it. Larry's been keeping that left jab in his face.
I've also just noticed how we're saying about that odd movement that he's doing. On the actual scorecard itself, and I've got the images of each fighter.
Yeah.
He's doing that little duck to the right.
Yeah.
Spinks. That's the movement we're talking about.
Well, that was interesting. Spinks that's probably one of his, gotta be his best round so far, realistically. Yeah, the jabs found in the right hand, but yeah, I think Holmes is a bit too active for me in that one.
Yeah. I was
And yeah, Lederman's got 4-0 for Holmes as well.
Yeah. I think you've hit the reason as well there. It was purely there wasn't a lot in it, so like the go-to kind of can be is more active in that circumstance. Not a lot significant happened, no real significant punches, but you know, he was just a more active fighter. He tried to do a bit more. You give him the round for that reason. I have also made that my closest round on the percentages, just the 55, 45.
At the end of that last round, Michael Spinks started to show some aggression.
So into round 5, we'll have a pause after this round and just have a quick side-by-side comparison.
A tactical fight so far, a fight that could be won or lost in the corners.
Michael is quite content with the way he's moving, not really exerting any unnecessary energy. He's been using the whole entire ring, as a matter of fact.
Tentative start by Holmes. Spinks lands right to the body there, but not a significant shot.
It seems to me, Barry, that he's waiting for Larry to pretty much try to punch
Then
himself
Holmes
out,
pays
because
him one back to the body as
he
well.
expected Larry to go right at him for the first couple rounds, which has been true.
And Larry has, and Larry's won, at least in the judgment of those at this table.
Oh, controlled his head there, got him a nice right uppercut. Holmes has done really well using. Sometimes he's obviously missed with the jab, but he'll use it as a kind of setup as well. He'll control the head, or obfuscate the vision with the forearm.
Yeah, I don't like it when he does that kind of pause it out, like, sticks it in front of the head.
Yeah.
That kind of isn't allowed these days, I don't think. Whether it was back then, you see it sometimes, don't you? If someone sticks out the glove and sticks it on the head and keeps it there, the referee will kind of say, what are you doing?
Yeah, I think it. Yeah, to take him to stiff arm, it should be kind of admonished as a foul.
So we're halfway through round 5. It's much of the same. I think Holmes is a bit more successful in the previous round. He's doing a little bit more. Spinks is looking like he's being busier. Oh, that's a good shot. That's a very good shot. That could possibly be the best fight. Well, the commentator just said it, the best punch of the fight.
Yeah, definitely. And that was some really excellent head movement there. Completely just avoided that combination. And then you just followed him. Holmes went back in a straight line. Spinks just threw 3 jabs in a row, followed him back. And then Holmes was trying to land the right hands himself.
Opening up now.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of running away a little bit, Spinks. Oh, it's a
Oh!
great left.
So he doubled up the hook as well. Yeah, this is Spinks' best round by far.
The thing is, them 2 shots have been fantastic, but I think he's losing every other second with the round so far.
Oh, he's been hit with an uppercut there and he's taken a few jabs. Yeah, this is interesting. I think the quality shots, arguably the three left hooks and then the right hand there. Yeah, the combination and the power shots from Spinks, but I think you would make an argument that Holmes might have outlanded them as well.
That's it. This is a tough one. This is a real tough round because you just summed it up there. You've got the highlight reel shots, nice. Whereas Holmes, he did what he'd done for the last 4 rounds. Yeah, we'll put our scores in and then we'll get the side by side up in a second. I'll just give this a pause. Go through.
Good round.
So I am just getting up our scores, if I can find it. We have issues, unfortunately. Okay, we are back. You still with us, Kaiser?
Yes, I'm still here.
No problem. I thought we had an issue just then on the side-by-side comparison scorecard, but we're all good. I just got that up on stream now. I'm not sure if you can see that.
Yes, I can see it.
So made some adjustments to our previous live stream, if you remember.
Yes.
Now the rounds are highlighted where things are either the same or different. So if we have a look on here, we spoke about round 1. I gave that as on the front foot, 65-35 to Holmes. 10-9. You're more generous with your percentages. We've covered that on previously. So you went 80-20 as a reflection of how close that round was, which is fair enough if you're keeping that consistency. We both have kept that consistency in the second round, and I seem to recall we did say, you know, it pretty much went the same kind of way.
Yeah.
So I think we got the same scores and the same reason, and that's why it's been highlighted in the orange colour. So, you know, it's a pretty similar thing. Round 3. Again, we both got the same scores. 10-9 to Holmes. 60-40 in the percentages. And then just different reasons. So I went with controlled the action, and you went with landed the cleaner and more effective shots. But that's a really close round that we both scored. The green one, so round 4, looks like to be an exact match. So we both scored that in exactly the same way, including the reason. So that's highlighted in the green. So I think that's pretty cool. You can quickly see the rounds that have been scored, either very similar or exactly the same. So how did we score round 5? Do you want to explain?
Yeah, round 5, also in full agreement, 10-9 to Spinks. I think we said on stream it's clearly his best round so far. Kind of finding the kind of power shots and the accuracy he didn't have before, and also, and not only that, it was kind of saved in the kind of last 30 seconds or so where he landed this really great combination. So 55-45 just edged it out.
That's quite interesting. I was half expecting you to maybe have gone the other way and given it to Holmes, because I was almost going to go that way, and I thought, no, them shots for Spinks, the eye-catching shots, they're the ones that just swung it for me. But you know, there's just that equal argument for that you could have easily have scored that for Holmes. Obviously, it's reflected in our scores, you know, very close, 45-55 in the percentage. A lot of people could have seen Holmes winning that, and especially I think judges that maybe they don't care so much about, you know, the eye-catching shots. They're just more interested in the round as a whole, I guess. There's an argument to be made for that.
Yep, good points. But yeah, it was undeniably a good round for Spinks. Yeah, found the good shots, kind of got more in his boxing rhythm, and he even showed some decent defensive skill as well. He kind of made himself a smaller target. He kind of got the ear off some, blocked a lot of shots as well, took at least a lot of the power out of some of the kind of hooks from home. So, yeah, better from him.
Yeah, I've just also adjusted the screen so that now you'll be able to see our totals, and that wasn't displaying a moment ago. So after 5 rounds, we've both got the same scores, 49-46. The percentages sway a little bit differently. So mine, I've got Holmes as 58% on average as the round winner to 42%. Yours is a bit further apart, 64% to Holmes and 36% Spinks. But that is fairly reflected, you know, in terms of consistency. So let's carry on. I think we'll continue with round 6. We can see a few highlights, I guess,
There's
before
the right
that.
hand that landed near the ear of Spinks, and here you'll get a look at the same punch. But Spinks did land a couple of clean hooks in that round.
Like you're saying, the triple jab in, and then boom, the right hand caught him.
Come on, baby, that's it.
Yeah, that was the kind of gambit with that, is that he can obviously keep Holmes close by when he has that left hand next to his head, so that he can follow Holmes backwards 3 jabs in a row, but Holmes literally just uses his left hand, keeps outstretched just to set up the right hand counter.
What those numbers say is that by being active, Larry Holmes is making Michael Spinks more inactive.
Yeah, a bit short with the counter with the right hand there.
This is round number 6. Wild right hand by Holmes.
Yeah, 2 big rights from Holmes so far, neither have landed.
Good right hand by
And
Spinks.
Spinks looking to continue his success with the power punches.
I love the way that Spinks ride with that right hand. Ride with the right hand of Larry Holmes.
Very, very slowly. You have the feeling.
Oh, look at that shimmy from Holmes there. And then he just avoids the jab, tries to counter uppercut.
Well, Larry just now
But,
did a
no
Indian
success
dance,
there.
rain dance, whatever you call it. And I guess he's starting to feel good. But now Spinks has
I think he was a bit overextended with the lead left hook there.
More talent than I thought.
I think what makes this fight such an interesting fight because the first time around everyone
Good.
expected
Nah, both
Spinks to
extreme.
win.
Yeah.
Now they just don't know.
Strong left hand inside that time by Holmes, incidentally.
That was good movement by Holmes. Then.
Yeah, I was about to say, just took that half-inch step away just to keep the power of the shot. Yeah, really, really great.
Larry Holmes
And
down by his
you see
side.
with Larry Holmes that you just see the kind of innate timing
And basically when you fight a
that
guy
years
with
of experience
such
will do.
an unorthodox style
You know.
as Michael Spinks, you
So
gotta
he
look the
throws the
body.
jab
In
there,
the first
you know,
fight, very seldom did Larry Holmes go to the
just
body.
complete sense
That's
of
what ended up moving.
how he's positioned in the ring and whatnot against him. It was true that he's an elite fighter. So.
Good left hook.
And this is when he's, I think he's 35 or 36 by now.
Spinks is not staying stationary target. He's giving a lot of feints, a lot of head movement.
I gotta think, Ray.
And that jab's always his reliable weapon, still
Yeah.
pumping it out.
It's been definitely more effective this fight.
Yeah.
Very frustrating. Good left hand by Holmes.
Well, the fact is, because you don't know what direction the punches are coming from Michael. That's what makes Michael such an exceptional fighter.
Some nice body shots there. I do think Spinks needs to be a bit more busier though, because in between these times where he's landing a few effective shots, and we do count the body shots, most people don't, and a nice jab there, that Holmes has filmed those exchanges with actual scoring jabs as well.
Yeah.
He's in danger of letting himself get it worked. Oh, there's a... yeah, just a great lead left hook.
He's moving, he'll stop, throw a couple punches, and get back on his
I think
back.
Spinks' defense has been more important his last 2 rounds as well. And there's a nice left hook.
Landed it again. He's found that left hook, hasn't he?
Yeah.
That was the lead-off right hand of Michael Spinks.
Well, Spinks once again, he's managed to, you know, use his footwork and, you know, some blocks to kind of take enough damage out of the shots, and then takes a few jabs, but he also picks his power shots quite nicely as well. That's another one that has been competitive, but I think Spinks maybe just did enough for me. I think I might award that a 10-9 for Spinks, but I think I'd go 55-45 again. I think Holmes was effective behind the jabs in those kind of quieter parts of the round.
Yeah.
But that's for me.
I've actually gone for that way. I think Spinks did land a few decent shots, but I don't think it was as much as the previous round that was scored for him. And I think that in totality, I think Holmes was slightly more effective with that jab. And so yeah, I'll go different for a change.
This is now shaped up to be
It's quite
quite an interesting fight.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, it's, you know, we're into round 7 now. In our minds, we're thinking, you know, the fight's half over, and on my card, Holmes is running away from it.
Yeah.
But we're forgetting that it's actually a 15-rounder, so there's still a long way to go.
That was a nice kind of, not a full jab, but still a scoring shot, and then he just kind of had that nice lean back to go with the right hand, and that sends a tremendous lead left hook.
A great little jump in.
Yeah.
You feel that that's the shot he's now looking for, isn't he? He knows that he's landing that.
Well, you can see right here, Holmes' right hand is literally at his waist.
Yeah.
So he's obviously ready to kind of cock it and then kind of fire it immediately, but I think Spinks is basically, his hands and feet are so fast that he's able to connect with the lead left hook. Almost when he feels like it. There's a nice right hand return though.
That's a great job.
The shots from Spinks are so sharp as well, because Spinks doesn't really waste energy with punches. He throws punches to land them.
Yeah.
That's it. So when he does, they've got so much snap in them. There we go. Just another beautiful jab.
And I guess that gives a sense of more success as well. He's not
Yeah.
throwing as much, but when he does, it's landing. Whereas, Holmes is throwing out continuous jab, but it's not really doing much.
Yeah.
So we're over halfway through round 7. I think Spinks is winning this one. He's out jabbing the jabber. He's doing a
Yeah. Good point.
Holmes is still kind of on the front foot here, but nowhere near as effective as the previous rounds.
Yeah, and less busy as well. But yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. The authority of the shots coming from Spinks, and he's really picking his moments as well. He's moving nicely. He's blocking well. Yeah, when it comes to criteria, I think Spinks is having a good all round here.
Yeah.
Well, Holmes is starting to try to put the pedal to the metal now.
I think he's grown into the fight, hasn't he, Spinks?
Yeah.
Holmes has slowed down a bit from that fast start. He's probably got a little bit more time now, Spinks, to concentrate and do what he does. And now he's pushing Holmes back. That's a good shot there, good counter. But Spinks is looking to kind of get closer.
Work a bit on the inside there as well. Yeah, I think you might make an argument that Holmes has maybe won the last minute, but I think Spinks has done enough in the first 2 minutes of kind of outboxing Holmes that I think he's taken this round for me.
Yeah, I'd agree there.
Oh, that's a really nice jab as well.
And a good finish to the round as well. Last 2 shots landing. Interesting. Let's see what the corner's got to say.
I gotta wear him down some more. Coming down. I know it. I'm making him work too. Keep him good. Keep him work. Okay, Sam, you got to go to work. I know, I'm trying. Go to work. You okay? You got to go to work. Let him get away with too much. You got to go to work, baby. Right. Take charge.
Interesting, you can hear a bit of frustration from Michael Spinks there. I'm going to try how they're going to make him work his fight.
Yeah, I'm trying. God, leave
Yeah.
me alone.
Which is kind of funny though, because realistically, this fight is getting closer and closer. I mean, you can make an argument that, Holmes could be in a hefty lead, but if you give Spinks the close round, they might only be 1 point behind. So if he wins this, the fight could be a draw.
Yeah. Maybe good psychology as well. Just had a good round, but it's still telling me I need to do better. So that last round, the reason I gave was he landed the cleaner, more effective shots because Holmes was throwing and he was landing hits, but I think Spinks's were just better, a bit crisper. So yeah, this round started off nice and lively, round 8.
I think Holmes has been busier here than he was in the last round.
Yeah.
He's landed a few good right hands and body shots too.
Yeah, maybe he took the round off, had a bit of a rest. It looks like he's perked up a bit now.
Yeah.
Good jabs.
Yeah, he took one, just shot it right back.
Back to that timing that you were speaking of a few rounds ago. Just missed that wild swing, Spinks. Letting off, 3-4 shots at a time there.
That was the good thing about the combination for Spinks. He kind of lets off, the 1-2-1. Right hand. Holmes has that kind of half-inch lean back. Right hand hits, the chest, but follows up with the jab behind that, and that one catches him flush. So obviously you can't avoid all the combination shots.
I think that's what Spinks needs to do more of, isn't it? To be landing a bit more frequently. You can't just rely on that jab and occasional lead left hook that has been successful for him. It's just not enough. I think he needs to start trying to get inside, throwing a few flurries, 3, 4, 5 shots at a time.
Yeah, otherwise it gets you into the kind of the Lara Canelo thing where you got one guy coming forward. Yeah, he's mixing it up. He's going to the body. He's more active, but then you get the guy who's moving around and has got some eye-catching pot shots. And at the end of that, we have controversy where people think, oh, well, it could go either way. So you're looking to win it clearly.
Relying more so on just throwing one shot. Just putting left hook.
It's another tough one to score again to the last 30 seconds. That's a good flurry there.
And this actually might be
That,
arguably a round-running flurry.
yep, I'd agree there. That's a good one.
Oh, there's a nice right hand. Oh yeah, that's like, yeah, they've actually kind of slugged it out quite well here, and there's a nice jab. Oh, there's another one. Oh.
This is great. Great action for the last 30 seconds.
Yeah, really good. And Spinks maybe just landed a few more there.
I think so. I think he's won that there. I think that last 30 seconds he got the better of that flurry.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
He landed a few of them nice stiff jabs at the end. Holmes looks absolutely knackered in the corner there.
He does.
Well,
thank you, Larry. As I saw it, Michael Spinks only won the 6th round up until that 8th, and he won the 8th round rather big. Michael is.
No, there's Leatherman saying he won the 8th round rather big, but I think he only won it big until you kind of said that he kind of got the better of the kind of the slugging match in the last 30 seconds. Just because I think he timed the shots better, he had a bit more urgency on them, but
yeah, it was close. I think it was a close round up until then. I think he was leading anyway, Spinks, but then I think, just that success at the end edged him even further away.
Neither guy seems happy in the corner at all.
Right now, the question for Larry Holmes is whether he can sustain the pace, because he's found a formula that seems to be a winning one.
Aggressive stop from Spink, one to the head, one to the body. And he's arguing with his corner there by the looks of it. They're trying to fight a bit inside, but the referee's going to break them too much. Or done a little bit of holding and hitting there, but
it's taken, 8 rounds to get to that stage? That's not bad going for heavyweights.
There's 3 jabs 4 jabs now from Spinks. Holmes now moving the head a little bit, resetting, throwing it back. Oh, I think he caught him with a counter jab, just moved him off balance for a second. He just walked him into a really nice counter right hand. I think he just stunned him there. Yep, right hand around again.
It's definitely hurt.
Yep.
Felt like
he walked right into it. Oh, that was a wild right hook.
Yeah, you can tell he's tiring. He's just trying to set it up perfectly, isn't he? And it's just not quite working. And now Spinks has got his senses back a bit now.
He's just trying to come forward, land a few jabs as well. Just kind of give the indication, well, I'm not hurt anymore. Oh, there's a nice overhand right and left hook.
Didn't quite land as flush as he wanted to, but good work. He's coming back with some good jabs.
Yeah, it wasn't as clean as the right hand that Holmes landed. That was just perfectly timed.
Yeah, I'd say up to this stage now we've got a minute left, unless Spinks does something of his significance. I think that little bit of trouble that he was in there, that's got to be the round winning.
Yeah, it's hard for judges ever to go against someone when someone's been visibly staggered as well. And you saw the shot immediately, you went, oh, that's a hard right hand, and you see Spinks immediately back up, and you know he's felt it.
Yeah.
He's picked his shots really nicely, but he used to be quite dominant to kind of overturn something like that, and then
landed a few, both of them there.
Yeah.
Again, I mean, Spinks landed the one there, but Holmes countered it to eliminate that, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that he landed that counter right uppercut when he came swinging in. I'm not sure if that maybe affected him as well, because Spinks went right back to the ropes for a second. So sometimes, obviously, you can feel a shot, but not. The guys will visibly wobble, but they know they've been hit with a big shot. You know, they felt the power and went, actually, let's just take him. It has a nice lead left hook as well. It's actually been a really good run for Spinks as well, but if you take away the 15-20 seconds of the right hand and him being hurt, I think he'd have won that round pretty convincingly. But that's exactly what you can't do. That puts us in an interesting situation. But yeah, I think percentage-wise, I'm not sure what you'd say about this. I'd score it closer.
Yeah.
But for Holmes still because he had his opponent in trouble.
Yeah, I'd go with that as well. To be honest, like I say, after that, the first minute of the round, Holmes is leading, probably 70%.
Yeah.
Bringing that right down because, like I say, Spinks, he did well. He did well after that.
You got to change up in the combinations. You let the guy off the hook. Quit trying to load up. Just keep to the game plan. Quit trying to knock the goddamn guy out. Throw the punches. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just keep.
That's as clear corner work as you're ever gonna get.
Keep the jab. You don't have to try to knock him out with one punch.
It's good advice as well.
I think that's the first time in how many rounds has that been? 15, in 24 rounds these two guys have boxed so far, that one guy has been seriously kind of hurt as well. I don't think we've had someone who's
Yeah, I don't recall it in the previous fight.
I think Spinks felt a shot earlier on in the fight. In this one, sorry, I can't remember. I think it was one of the early rounds, like the second round.
Yeah,
I think he felt it, but it wasn't like staggered at the time.
Around,
Yeah.
Larry Holmes is starting to move back now. Michael Spinks has become the aggressor. Either sign of that means either Larry's tired or he's changed his
Interesting that Larry Holmes rather, is starting to move around a little bit. Kind of uses lateral movement. Spinks is kind of coming forward.
Yeah, role reversal now, isn't it?
Yep.
Oh, that's good. I'm not sure if more than one landed flush, but it looks good.
He's throwing enough to kind of make sure at least some of them will land.
Yeah.
That's a good first minute for Spinks. Oh, that's a nice right hook to the body though. Yeah. Almost landed one of those jabs there, but he's pawing of it there, kind of probing. Oh, there's a nice right hand.
It was close.
Chiquetti's yelling from his Holmes corner for him not to wait. And the reason being because he knows when Michael gets inside, Michael throws a lot of punches.
Spinks is the effective aggressor. He's making sure to come forward and keep throwing those shots, punches and bunches.
Oh, that's uppercut there. Beautiful, beautiful 3-punch combo there. Possibly edging in the round, I'd say that.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, right hand, right uppercut, just good stuff. And that's the kind of mistake Holmes makes when he's in range there. I mean, he kind of doesn't fully clinch him. He holds him or tries to maneuver him, but Spinks is just looking for the punch opportunity, just shifts his position and comes up with the uppercut.
Into the last 30 seconds, I think Spinks has definitely been more aggressive this round. He's getting closer, isn't he? Some good inside work.
Oh, there's a nice right hand.
Hit back. But he's coming straight back, Oh,
there's... I mean, there's 5 hard power shots there. I think Holmes has scored with 2 good right hands, but Spinks is control. I think Spinks has boxed the range in this fight. He's won it from the outside, the medium range. He's won it from the inside.
Yeah.
He's found power shots in each. So yeah, I think that's a clear Spinks round for me. What a great comeback round after getting staggered as well.
Yeah, I think that's his best round so far. Some great combinations thrown. And I think earlier on in the fight he was just too cagey, too edgy and not too sure, especially with Holmes coming at him quicker than in the first fight. But I think now Holmes is tired a little bit. Spinks has still got plenty of energy, and he's got the time and the space to decide what he's going to do. And when he starts throwing his bunches and moving forward, it's troubling Holmes. Good round.
Yeah. I think as well that they needed that kind of urgency because they knew, I think, the first 4 rounds were a clean sweep for Holmes.
Yeah.
So yeah, you kind of when you're already 4 rounds down, you need to be kind of getting urgent and making sure that you're getting enough rounds to be ahead in the fight. Was that the end of round 10?
We're going into
Are
the
we gonna?
last
Do
third
you want to
of the fight.
cover the card so far?
Yes, good spot. Sorry, I was a bit engrossed into the action. It's been a really good watch actually so far.
Yeah, I've never seen the fight before, so yeah, it's a great watch.
I'm just actually deciding what my reason is for this one. I'll go there. Okay, let's get up our card comparison. So round 6. Okay, so yeah, from round 6, that should be in view, I believe. Might have gone too high. There we go. This is the only round where we scored differently. So I gave that one to Holmes. You gave it to Spinks. Razor close, percentage-wise. I thought that Holmes controlled the action. You thought Spinks landed the cleaner, more effective shots. That was the round where I think you gave the more eye-catching shots, didn't he, Spinks? Is that right?
Yeah, I think it was one of the quieter rounds where kind of Holmes is on the front foot with the jab, but Spinks is only picking his shots occasionally. But yeah, I think that was arguably that's the closest round of the fight.
Yep. Round 7, we scored exactly the same. So 10-9 to Spinks. One of his better rounds. He landed the cleaner and more effective shots. 60% to 40%. Good. Round 8. Similar scores. We had 10-9 to Spinks. We had the same reason, which is why it's highlighted in the yellow. Just the different percentage values. Yep. And again, round 9 we both went the same reason and the same round winner. Holmes 10-9. That's the round he had Spinks in trouble, but the percentages again, they reflect that it was a close round. So that was at the start of the round, wasn't it? And then Spinks kind of came back into it, probably won the rest of the round. So I think that's a good example of how the scoring percentage kind of comes into play in this context. Because if you look at just the 10-9 and the reason of the opponent was in trouble, then you'd be like, it's a clear-cut round, but really it was actually quite close.
Yeah.
And then again, we've had a exact same scores and reasons and percentages in that last round, round 10. So 65-35 in favour of Spinks. So down in the totals, I think we can see that on the stream. Yep. We've got it slightly different now. So you've got an even fight after 10, 95 all each, and I've got Holmes 2 rounds ahead, 96-94, and our percentages have now come more in line than previously. So very close. Mine's 52% to 48%. So that's razor close, really, isn't it? You're slightly further apart, 54% and 46%. But yeah, I think it reflects the tale of the fight so far. It's been a really good fight.
Yes, definitely. Spinks right back into it.
Yep. So interesting 5 rounds to go. Let's see what happens.
There seemed to be a little bit of concern in the corner of Larry Holmes, mainly from his brother Jake, who was saying, come on, it's all heart now, and Spinks picks up where he left off.
Good start from Spinks.
This fight has taken a total different scene here, mainly because Michael Spinks now is doing what he did the first time, and he's starting to throw more punches.
Well, that was good. Good summary.
Show the speed of his punches, the accuracy of his punches.
Very cagey opening.
Yeah, the quietest has been in a while.
And then a burst of energy.
The second one got there.
Spinks is doing what Holmes going to want him.
Yeah, Holmes avoiding most of that and then coming back with 2 stiff jabs himself.
Yeah, decent. I think Holmes is just kind of probably reflective of that last round. He knows that Spinks got the better of him, and Spinks,
Yeah.
I think, probably expended quite a bit of energy, so not quite as gung ho. He'll probably start to open up as this round goes on, I'd imagine. Holmes is now just controlling the action, I'd say, at this point, using the jab, keeping him at bay, trying to get back to his boxing.
And he can continue to do this as long as Michael's not coming in.
Already a
Yeah, I
minute
think.
and a half gone. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, I was just going to say Ray Leonard was kind of on point in the commentary there. He said, "Yep, Larry Holmes can just continue to do this as long as Spinks doesn't come in. You know, Spinks isn't going to, you know, kind of leap in with those kind of punches and bunches or those lead left hooks. Then Holmes is going to pick him off with the kind of jab, as you were saying."
Yeah. Spinks is up in the tempo a bit here now. And he needs to do something, I think, to win this round in the next minute.
And he just threw 3 jabs and a left hook.
You know, I also credit this probably to that medicine ball technique that Shieldstone had introduced to Michael.
Holmes is just content, though, isn't he, to just paw away at that jab and hope to just see off the round, I think, here. He looks a bit tired again.
Yeah.
Swelling under both eyes of Larry Holmes, really up on the cheekbone. Doesn't appear to be anything very serious.
Oh, there's a nice right
It's a
hand.
beautiful timed right hand.
I think he landed another right hand a little bit earlier as well, about a minute before. It wasn't as good as that, but
Would you say that that was enough to win in the round, just that one alone?
I mean, it's hard to say. I think we need to see these next 30 seconds
Yeah,
because I mean, Spinks has come back with his own jabs and left hooks as well.
Oh, that's a good.
They are saying, get after him, get after him. Don't wait.
Yeah, I think Spinks is trying to kind of roll off the right hands with the shoulder there a bit. Spinks looks tired. He's breathing
Yeah,
out his
he
mouth
does.
here.
I
There's a
thought,
body
I
shot.
thought he was going to like kind of just suddenly launch something out of nowhere, but no. I think that's a Holmes round for me.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think he really took control in that last minute, and I think he scored with the best shots. Yeah, I'd agree.
I think I'm going to say that he was more active as well. I mean, Spinks was doing bits, but Holmes was continually there, pawing away at the jab, keeping him at bay.
Yep, that's completely fair. Yeah, I think I'm going to go cleaner shots myself. I think the 2 big right hands and some of the body work as well. But yeah, as you kind of mentioned, sometimes it's both. He's more active, he's landing the jabs. And also the jabs are some of the best shots of the round too.
Yeah.
Because obviously Holmes gets so much energy on them. But it's still a competitive round, I felt. I think Spinks obviously had his moments, but yeah, I think Holmes for me.
Larry Holmes has the lead in this fight. Can he keep it?
So I've now got Holmes up 7 rounds to 4. We're into what, the 12th now, 12.
And I've got it 6-5.
Michael has to come to life.
So yeah, Spinks needs to, you know, needs to make a move for my scorecard for him to be winning. I think he just needs to do a bit more of what he started in that last round and kind of tailed off a bit. He just needs to get more busy inside. I think Holmes is comfortable when he's not being rushed, isn't he?
Yeah.
Well, you know, again, the judges' criteria is that who throws the cleaner punches, throws the most punches.
There's a nice right hand to the body and another one.
Punches have landed to the body and to the head of
He said that he did that early in the fight, and we're not seeing that for, I don't know, maybe a good 5 or 6 rounds.
Yeah, good point. Good point. I think as well, Spinks obviously was coming on around that point. I think he was getting the better of the kind of the mid-range kind of inside exchanges because obviously it was smaller reach. But I think since Spinks is tired out a bit now, that Holmes can kind of afford to go back to the body a bit because Holmes himself is kind of picking his spots really. He's nowhere near as active as he was in the first 4 rounds. He's backing up. He's taking more of a kind of passive kind of counter puncher kind of positioning where the jabs aren't constant. He's working out occasionally or on the counter, and yeah, only throwing the right hand really on the counter as well.
Yeah. Well, into the second half of the round. Yeah, I think it's the same again. Holmes is he's dictating play, isn't he? Just waiting for Spinks to kind of jump into action and throw some kind of flurry that'll swing around a bit.
He's just been more effective all around, I would say.
Good body work
There's
again there.
Yeah, you can hear it.
And again.
He's been 4 or 5 solid body shots there. And I think a lot of the time people don't really score them as much as they should, but they are scoring shots just as good as headshots. Oh, there's a body shot from Holmes and then took a right hand at the same time. I think Spinks is trying to an exchange.
This is what he needs to do.
Yep.
He had some success there, but nice. Yeah. He's working away, let up a bit. Still landing though.
Yeah. I think Holmes also got. I think Spinks got the better of the exchange, but Holmes also got 2 decent right hands in there as well. Kind of, he traded with him. But not enough for me. I think he stepped up the activity to try and steal the last minute, but Holmes got enough good shots. Not in the exchange and also in the first 2 minutes that I felt he could have won that round comfortably. Yeah.
I agree. I think, possibly if Holmes hadn't have landed anything in that exchange and a few more landed for Spinks, maybe that would have edged him around just for that burst of energy. But yeah, in agreement.
Yeah, great point. Yeah, I'm going to go 60-40 again for Larry Holmes. I think it's just a clear shot for me, but if you said more active, also very fair. Harold Leatherman gave Spinks the last round. Okay, that's an interesting one. I thought Holmes did pretty well in the last round actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
They threw our microphone out. I can't imagine what they have to say in there that we don't know already.
We need these rounds. Let's go get this guy.
What did you just say that the corner had thrown the microphone away or something?
My card as well as
I'm not sure. I didn't pick up on it.
It sounded like that potentially.
Michael Spinks to win the last 3 rounds.
Well, I'd have had it 7-5. If it was a 12 round, I'd have had it 7-5 for Holmes. I think you'd have had it 116, 112 for Holmes. So,
Yeah, 8-4.
Just a little bit short with it.
Sorry,
yeah, I think
what would your card would have been? Sorry.
7-5.
Yeah.
He was yelling at Spinks' corner, but
Yeah, Spinks with a surge of activity here, but he really needs it because at this point, I think almost everyone would have Larry Holmes ahead. I don't think there's been enough close runs that Spinks could arguably ahead, unless I've miscalculated that. I think Holmes has been too busy for him so far.
and try to weigh him down.
He's having a decent round here though.
And again, Holmes just holding off Michael Spinks.
Yep.
Forearm.
Doing more of that stiff arm thing, just holding out the right hand there.
Yeah.
For,
Just measure him, but then not throw anything. It's a little bit weird.
yep. Spinks for the combinations now. Decent first minute and 10 seconds. And then hook to the body.
That's good lead left.
Yep.
Oh,
there's another one.
That was weird. Holmes just kind of decided to lean down at that point for some reason.
Yeah. Yeah, Holmes just looks a bit lethargic here. And yeah, you hear Ray Leonard say it there, hands down at his side. Just took the shot clean, took that one clean as well.
Not looking too phased. Oh,
No.
just away.
But yeah, Holmes had a very strong chin. Took that incredible knockdown in the second fight against Early Shavers as well. One of the most vicious right hands you'll ever see, right to the chin, was up at the count of 8, and then fully recovered. Just incredible recovery.
Yeah, the Tyson Fury of his era.
Yeah, I was thinking about that earlier on as well. It's actually a really good comparison as well because he is. He can be knocked down, but it's almost impossible to keep him down.
This is now tough against Skull because he's just slowed right down, and I think Spinks has still done enough to edge the round, but Slowing
Yeah,
him
they
down
agree.
after his good start.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think in the first 2 minutes he just picked his spots too much. I think Holmes was too inactive.
Yeah.
I think for me, I think Spinks landed the cleaner, more effective shots, but I think you could also argue, in general, he was more active.
More active, yeah. That's what
Michael
my
Spinks,
hunch was.
is there enough life left in Larry Holmes?
I think it was fairly distant. No, I think a 60-40 is reasonable.
Yeah, I went the exact same.
You gotta keep throwing the punches. Look at him. Look at him over there. Look at the ice and everything on him. Let's go, damn it. What do you want?
That is brilliant corner work.
Go get it.
Yeah,
Go get it.
they're. Oh, they know that their guy is arguably only 6 minutes away from regaining the heavyweight title, and Spinks
What is
looks
going on?
knackered.
He's looking like he's trying to throw up.
Definitely some kind of distress. I don't know what it is.
I'm not even joking. I think he was trying to cough up, like.
That's what I'm like in
kissed-
the mornings.
Yeah.
Phlegm in my mouth.
Yeah.
14th round, and we'll see if Michael Spinks can shake off whatever the problem he had in the corner was.
When he was coughing, it appeared that there was a lot of phlegm in his throat.
Okay, then last two
He
rounds.
must have
Let's
gotten
see.
it out. At first, I thought he was actually choking. He seems to be okay now.
You saw Richard Giacchetti just say to Larry Holmes, look at him.
Occasional kidney punch there.
Of course, so did Larry Holmes.
There's a nice deep left hook.
Uppercut by Spinks.
So I think on my card now. Yeah. Unless there's a knockdown
Michael again walking away.
or a stoppage,
These are two very important rounds for both
Holmes is
fighters.
going to win. 8 rounds to 5. There's the 2 left.
This is when you have to reach down. Once again, Larry puts that hand on the forehead of Michael, and no one dares throw a punch.
The first minute is gone.
And under the
That's
right
been a
eye
decent
of
run for
Larry
Spinks.
Holmes.
It's mainly just been the left though. It's just the jab and the hook off the jab, occasional uppercut.
Minutes left in this fight.
And there's another one as well. He's just doubled up on that.
Now starting to put two punches together.
He's won the first half of the round here. He's just
Easily now.
look at that
Yeah.
jab right hand. I mean he's landed. I mean he's about 30 punches he's landed so far. Holmes has just got to do something really big to win the second half of this round.
Yeah. I mean, it's stopped even with the jab Holmes. He just couldn't react fast enough to the onslaught
Yep.
there.
Still there.
Yeah, great point.
Now this is when Larry should at least punch or at least
I mean,
clinch and not allow.
he's doing nothing. Oh, there's a boot for it.
Oh,
That,
wow.
oh, the referee didn't rule it a knockdown.
No, it couldn't really see whether he touched. I'm guessing he didn't because actually was a real back
Yeah.
then as well.
Yeah.
But he definitely sagged through.
This is when Larry
Oh
He
yeah.
always looks out of it.
Oh my God, he's badly
Oh,
hurt.
Holmes looking for the one finisher.
Oh, Holmes should be emptying the tank here as well. He knows how close this fight is, and he's done. This is like shades of Parker Chizora. You know, Chizora just walking away after the uppercuts.
Yeah,
It's surreal.
that was odd last night. Yeah, but just
Yeah.
going sitting in the corner kind of thing,
To the judges.
Yeah, just waiting.
waiting, looking to do something, find an opening. But
Well, after a dominant first half of the round, what exactly did Holmes do? He found the shot to hurt him. It'd be good to see the replay and see if he did maybe touch down. But he certainly dipped. But
he
I think it
definitely did, yeah.
And now
He's coming back
Spinks,
alright here.
the heart that he has as a champion.
Looks a kind of. I think it might have
Well.
been fatigue as well as.
yeah.
Well, he's very
the shot.
tired, but that was the best round
Yeah,
of the 29
I think
rounds they
that
had.
onslaught and that big shot, yeah, that Holmes round, I think he stole it from the jaws of defeat there.
Yep.
I think he was more hurt for a longer period than he was in the previous one, so I might argue go 60-40 on that one. Let's actually, here's the replay. Bang.
No,
Oh,
he's
nope.
stand up.
That doesn't touch down, so yeah, made the right call, but the glove all did kind of drop past his knee, but managed to keep himself up there.
I'm wondering if that maybe caused a bit. It looked like awkward, you know, like if you like your knee kind of bends a little bit sideways, and maybe that's
Yeah.
why he kind of sagged like a few seconds later
Yeah.
as he was walking. Kind of did a weird.
Well, it's proven that
It all may be coming down to this round.
So last round.
I
mean,
I've got-
Yeah, go on.
Sorry, go ahead. I was gonna say I've got Holmes 8-6 ahead now, so yeah, he would need Spinks would need a knockdown to get a draw on my card.
Yeah, and he needs a knockout on mine. I've got 9-5, 1-3-5, 1-3-1. Unless there's multiple knockdowns. But
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, we both had, besides I think we disagreed on one round, our cards have been similar for the most part for the majority of the fight. I think it seems that Holmes has probably done enough to win at least 8 rounds, so
Yeah.
we'll see how this round pans out, but it seems like he should have done enough to regain the title here. Yeah, a bit more activity from both here. Oh, right hand, and then Spinks immediately came back with the left hook.
What's weird is it doesn't feel like it's that far apart. You know, my scorecard. I mean, the fight doesn't seem like it's been that one-sided. I guess it's not been one-sided, but you know, I think Spinks' work when he has landed has looked so good, whereas Holmes has just been more methodical and he's just been winning off basics rather than anything flashy. This is a good last round. They're both slugging it out.
Yeah, Spinks is really emptying the tank here, just throwing those combinations.
Yeah.
I think he's taking a breather here though.
Harold Letterman, of course, unofficially our judge at ringside, feeling that Michael Spinks must knock Larry Holmes out. Spinks trying for all the world to do it. Holmes does not appear to have been hurt throughout the fight.
Oh, there's a nice right hand. But I think in the first 2 minutes so far, I thought Spinks had the advantage. I thought he landed more effective shots, but we'll see if Holmes can turn it around in the last minute. There's a nice left hook to finish.
Yeah.
I think it would have been good for Holmes to have a stronger finish though, because you really don't know what the scorecards. I know obviously they had the indication from ringside press that obviously he is ahead, but it's always good to have a good finish. See, Spinks has kind of landed all those shots, you know, kind of gathered the leads, all the punches he's landed. Now he's just kind of taking a break. All he needs is a few more just to kind of make sure he steals out the round. But yeah, I think this has been a Spinks round for me.
Definitely a Spinks round. Holmes is posted.
Right. And Spinks doesn't let Holmes win the exchange. Holmes lands the shot finally, and then Spinks will just come back with the left hook.
Yeah.
Just make sure that.
Good flow at the end. That was a fun fight, man.
That was a good one, yeah.
Oh, it'd be really interesting to see what these scores are. I mean, I've not looked at the actual result of this before we've watched it, so I actually don't know. Which is good. Makes it more interesting and exciting.
Yep.
You and I saw the fight that way, but again, I harken back to many fights that you and I have done here in Las Vegas, Ray, and I've seen some awfully strange decisions.
That's true, Barry, but judging by the way Larry approached his fight, Larry was aggressive from round 1. I think you have to look at that as your criteria. The fact that Larry was very effective, some clean blows, he was able to land.
All the commentary for HBO, Letterman, and Ray Leonard all seem to think Holmes has won comfortably. He had it 9-6. I think you had the same, didn't you?
Yeah.
I had it 8-7. But, yeah, that's just the one round we disagreed on. But yeah, but yeah, 8-7, 9-6. I think that's a fair indication of the fight. It was close, but I think Holmes was just too busy.
Yeah, I don't think there can be any other case made. There wasn't enough swing rounds for Spinks to have got the win, I don't think.
Yeah.
Was this a controversial decision back in the day?
Yeah.
Leon
Maybe I'll
Spinks,
find
of
out in a
course, there
second
to
if
congratulate his
if I
brother.
can get time.
That was a different fight from Larry Holmes because Larry was aggressive, but from Michael Spinks, it was like a replay of the first fight, but with less punches being thrown.
So while we're waiting for that,
So right
the
now,
sound's
let's get
still
up
on.
to the ring announcer Chuck Hall, and
Oh,
we will
we're
have the
announcing.
official decision.
We're
Here's Chuck.
announcing. Let's go back.
Ladies and gentlemen, here is the decision of the judges. Judge Frank Burnett scores 144 Spinks, 141 Holmes.
Wow.
Judge Joel Cortez scores 144 Holmes, 141 Spinks.
Correct.
So both fighters have had a 9-6 scorecard.
Yeah.
Judge Jerry Ross scores 144, 142 for the winner by a split decision, and still the IBF.
Okay, so that's why it was controversial.
As I said,
Yeah, the final scored 8 rounds to 7 for Spinks, and you see Holmes just has that
I don't think there's gonna be a lot of
like
agreement
that look
in
on his
that
face.
decision here
Are you kidding?
at the
Are you
Hilton
kidding
Hotel.
me?
Yeah, interesting.
I don't know what to say, really. I thought that Larry fought
Yeah, Ray Leonard can't really believe it. So interesting fact that I found 42 of 46 sports writers and journalists after the fight scored it for Larry
I'm
Holmes.
sure a lot of people disagree with the decision.
42 out of 46.
But again, Harold Letterman, let me ask you. We said
So, you know, there's at least 4. What the other 4 score? Was that a draw or was it for Spinks?
It doesn't say.
Doesn't say.
So
Oh, okay, it was just on the
yeah.
Wikipedia or whatever. Interesting. Yeah, I don't really see how they could have got to them scores, especially, you know, the reverse of what I got, the 1-1-4-4, 1-4-1. So yeah, I guess we've always had controversy, even, what was it, 40 years ago.
Yeah, good point. Trying to see the box rec page for the fight has the breakdowns of all the judges' scorecards, so it tells you what round they scored as which. We're trying to quickly see if maybe there was any key rounds they disagreed on. Yeah, they all scored the first 4 for Larry Holmes. Joe Cortez, who had it 9-6 for Holmes, had the 5th round for Holmes as well, but we both thought Spinks did that one. I had that one rather. Joe Cortez also had round 14 as a 10-8 after he stunned Spinks, and then scored round 15 as a 10-10 apparently, which is quite strange because we both thought Spinks won that one quite handily. Okay,
Yeah.
that's some strange cards there.
That is an interesting one. Okay, so I've just got up on the stream our final 5 rounds.
Yeah.
I was going to do that, and then they started announcing the decision. So, yeah, we'll just have a quick breakdown. Round 10, we covered round 10, didn't we? So round 11. So how did we score that? We got the same percentage, and Holmes winning that one. I went with more active. You went with the landing the more effective shots. Round 12, similar again, 60-40 rounds to Holmes, 10-9. I went with controlled the action, and you gave the same, landing the cleaner, more effective shots. And I think that was, you know, possibly them 2 rounds was where he shaded it Holmes.
Yep. I'd agree with that. Good point.
In terms of the fight, that them 2 probably just gave him that enough of a cushion to be able to see out them last 3 rounds, really.
Yeah, good point.
So round 13, I went with more active. you went with landing the cleaner or more effective shots. Again, we both went the same way. Spinks, 60-40. So we've got some very similar rounds there, haven't we?
Yeah.
And again here, round 14. Both went with Holmes. I went 65-35. He went 60-40. That was around where Spinks was in trouble, and we both used that exact same reason.
Yep.
And the final round we both gave to Spinks, 60-40. I went with he was more active throughout the round, and you went with landing the cleaner, more effective shots. Final totals: 144 to 141 for Holmes for me, and you had it one round less. Percentages, again, they came very close in the end. Round winning percentage, mine was 52.33% to Holmes, and yours was just 1% more. So,
yep.
Very reflective, I guess. We saw the same fight. The judges saw something different, obviously.
What was interesting, what you were saying about Holmes coming back in to the fight with round 11 and 12, was that all three judges apparently scored those rounds for Spinks.
Ah, okay. That is interesting then, yeah. So, yeah, I guess that's where you could say the fight was won then, really.
Yeah, just except for Spinks.
Except for Spinks, yeah.
Yeah.
In their eyes. Interesting.
Yeah.
Really interesting. Yeah, I think after this I'll probably have a read up on, the outcome of that, and, the kind of the fallout afterwards. Because I guess it was a huge fight back then. And obviously that's why it's been very controversial.
Yeah, Holmes was not happy after the result. He basically claimed everything under the sun. He gave his excuses. He was bitter. He claimed corruption. He basically said the two judges who'd scored against him, he said that it didn't claim they were corrupt. I think he said they were basically incompetent. He actually was so let down by this. He actually wanted to have a federal investigation done into boxing as a sport, about how bad it was, how it was filled with cronyism. I suppose, to be honest, this was the time of Don King and blatant corruption out there. So, but let's just say the investigation didn't go too far at all.
No.
But he tried his best to try and clean up the sport.
Yeah, well, it will be interesting to kind of look back at that after this. I actually really enjoyed that fight. I think I preferred that one than the first fight. The first fight was still good, but I think that one was more enjoyable. What about you? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think I was arguably a bit more technical as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think the first fight was a bit it was slower paced, but sometimes just because it's slower paced doesn't mean it's more technical. I think Spinks showed a lot there in terms of defense combinations, but Holmes also counter punching, counter jabs, head movement. Both landed really good power shots. But yeah, a more entertaining kind of brawl.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, I guess that leads us into, just before we finish, we can have a quick discussion on upcoming fights. I mean, there's obviously we're at the end of the year. It's been a pretty fun year. I think it's the year of the upsets. So there's been a lot of upsets in boxing, it seems. Anyway, there's not too much boxing scheduled in the immediate future. Obviously, it's Christmas time. There's a few more events around Christmas time, but nothing to really write home about. On New Year's Day, we've got a heavyweight event, seemingly, with Luis Ortiz versus Charles Martin. I'm not sure if that's going to be of much interest. What do you think, Kaiser?
It'll be interesting to see where. I think for me, it's where Ortiz stands. I mean, he was a legit kind of top 10, top 5 a few years ago. And then obviously the Wilder War, I think, took a lot out of him. I think Charles Martin has consistently been like a top 15-ish guy. and obviously he's put a few wins together, so it'll be interesting to see where he stands if Ortiz is showing all his 50 years of age, if if you believe a Cuban birth certificate. But yeah, I'll probably tune in for that. It'll be interesting to see a tale of two southpaws. But yeah, I think if Ortiz has still something about him, I think he should be able to beat Charles Martin.
Yeah. There's also Frank Sanchez featured on that. I'm guessing that's going to be an expected win.
Yeah, I think you're right there. Wouldn't expect too much from that.
Who else is there? Mikhail Polite Coffee. He suffered a loss last time against Jonathan Rice, another heavyweight contest. I'm not really sure. Oh, it's a rematch. That's a rematch, is it? Okay. And Joe Washington features as well. Yeah, not really all that exciting. If truth be told.
Yeah. It's just the best of the rest, really.
Yeah, I guess so. Another fight that's going to come up in 2022. Not sure if it's much anticipated anymore, but Khan and Brook have been announced recently. Possibly 5, 6, maybe even more years too late, I'd say.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. Both of them are kind of past their best by now. Yeah, I don't really know. I think it'll probably end in a stoppage. It's just who's really more far gone.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's obviously it was more interesting a few years back, but the fact that they're now probably about the same level, even though they're both way past it, they're at that same kind of level. Who's faded the most, I guess, is going to be the question. And so it makes sense from both, doesn't it, to have a cash out fight, I suppose. I guess I'll probably watch it. Not sure if is it on pay-per-view? I'm sure.
I think they said it is. Yeah.
So hopefully it'll have a strong undercard because I think it needs it. I don't think it's worthy of a pay-per-view on its own. And to be honest, I don't think I can make a prediction for it. Who's going to win?
I think what's interesting as well is that I think Kell Brook looked really good in the first 3 rounds against Terence Crawford. Obviously, when Crawford is orthodox, he's taken his time already, but he was able to get those jabs and counter jabs in nicely because Kell Brook has excellent timing. It's the Ingle Gym kind of thing. Even when Crawford switched southpaw and kind of won the 3rd round, Kell Brook was immediately coming with those right hand leads down the pipe. He looked good until Crawford landed that one shot, and then he was done.
Yeah.
He was in a bad way.
Yeah, I think if that Brook turns up and is in shape, I think he probably should win. But Khan's got that speed. It can trouble anyone, and obviously Brook's lost a step these days.
Yeah.
I guess it is interesting just to see the outcome and who ends up winning, but definitely way too late. But I guess it would have been probably a fight that we wanted to see in 2015 if we was in 2014 and it was on our wish list. But not in 2022. So speaking of fights that you do want to see in 2022, which ones would you like to see the most?
I think the big ones are Crawford versus Spence, or Spence, or if Ugas should upset Spence, Crawford versus Ugas, just the unified welterweight championship.
Yeah.
That's what we want. I think Bivol versus Beterbiev as well. I think we want to see. I think we just need to see the unifications now. I think we want to get everyone kind of just have that kind of one champion. Fury versus Usyk as well. I think we want to see Inoue in with someone decent. And personally, it's a bit of a shame because I know Daenerys is obviously come back strong and he's proved himself a world champion. But I think in a way, won that fight convincingly first time round, so I'm not too keen on the rematch. But at the end of the day, Daenerys still a world champion. So if we get in the way of the unification, I'll be happy with that.
Yeah, all really good fights. There's quite a lot of good fights out there to be made. I'm looking forward to seeing how the lightweight division pans out. That's full of talent stacked, and even to the divisions above as well. I think there's a lot of fights that could be made between all of them guys. You mentioned previously before we came on air about Josh Taylor as well moving up. I'm interested in how Lomachenko does back up in the lightweights after his good win. I think Davis is the most talented of the lot. We just really need them guys down there, Devin Haney, Garcia, they all need to fight each other and see who comes out on top. There's some great matches to be made. Whether it's doable politically, I have absolutely no idea, and probably not.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's quite a few good things possible in 2022, but we'll have to just wait and see if any of it comes to fruition.
It'll be good to see the Superfly mix up again. Obviously, we're still waiting for Estrada versus Gonzalez 3. Obviously, that's going delayed due to COVID and injuries, but I think we're going to get a rematch between Rungvisai and Quadras as well, so all the guys are still in play.
Yeah, interesting times. And hopefully, well, we don't know, it seems like there's more misery on the way in terms of COVID and new variants and stuff, but
yeah,
hopefully things will calm down a little bit again, more towards the summer, and we can have some pretty decent fights to enjoy. And speaking of fights to enjoy, we're going to be doing more live streams, or we're going to be doing them more frequently than we've done these last couple into the new year. Not too sure what we'll cover next. If people want to send suggestions, they're more than welcome. And we will, of course, think of some decent fights from the past to watch, where there's either some controversy or whether it was just a really good fight to watch and score anyway. There's loads available, so I think we'll have some pretty interesting live streams in future. Make sure, if you haven't done, to follow us on Twitter. We are at fight_scores. Always posting on Twitter with updates regarding streams and also fight nights. We're also always tweeting out about people scoring the action and the averages and things like that. Also, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit the bell for reminders so that you know when we are going to be going live on these streams, and it'd be good for people to come and participate and take part. Over time, we'll get more people joining in, and we'll be able to see full average scorecards between everyone that's scoring. It'll make some quite interesting viewing and discussion. And if anyone's got any suggestions or ideas, they can, they're welcome to let us know, and we will take any feedback on board. But for now, I think that is all. Until the next time, thank you very much. Thank you, Kaiser, for joining us as ever, and we'll be back again in 2022 very soon. Alright, see you later.
Thanks for listening, guys.